You're born into 1880s Brussels, and let's be honest, you've already won the 19th century lottery. Your family isn't just doing well, they are we own the bank and the legal system rich. Think of your childhood home like a private Ritz-Carlton, but with more mahogany and fewer taxes. Your father is a high-flying lawyer with connections that reach all the way to the Belgian king. In an era where 150 out of every 1,000 kids don't make it to their 5th birthday, you aren't just surviving, you're thriving. While other kids are playing with sticks in the mud or dying of a light cough, you're being groomed for a life of quiet, boring excellence. But there's a weird energy in the house. Your father is cold, colder than a Victorian winter. There are whispers about your mother, secrets about your lineage, and a feeling that you don't quite fit into the polished furniture of Belgian high society. You're sent off to boarding school in England, the ultimate rich kid rite of passage. It's supposed to turn you into a gentleman, a lawyer, or a diplomat. But inside you, there's a ticking clock. You don't want a desk. You don't want a library. You have this nagging, itchy feeling in your soul that you weren't meant to argue over contracts. You were meant for something bloodier. The year is 1899. You're supposed to be at Oxford, burying your nose in Latin textbooks. Instead, you're staring at a newspaper. The Second Boer War has just kicked off in South Africa. For most people, war sounds like a nightmare. To you, it sounds like Disneyland with bolt-action rifles. You drop out of Oxford. You don't tell your dad. You don't tell the school. You just leave. But there's a problem. You're underaged, you're Belgian, and you have zero military training. So what do? You lie. You give yourself a fake name, Trooper Carton, and you tell the recruiter you're 25. Then comes the moment your life changes forever.
Keep it
You're
steady,
in South
let's
Africa,
go, fast
and for the
as you
first
can.
time, someone is actually trying to kill you. You're
Coming
charging
through.
toward the
Move
Boer
aside.
lines when, thwack, a bullet rips through your stomach. Then another one hits your groin. You're lying in the dirt, bleeding out in a foreign land. This is the part where most people think, I've made a huge mistake. But as you're being shipped back to England, your father finds out. The secret is out. He is humiliated. You aren't a lawyer, you're a dropout private who almost died for a country that isn't even yours. He meets you at the docks, ready to drag you back to a life of safety. He explains the hereditary trap, the status, the wealth, the safety. He tells you that your future is in the courts, not the trenches. And that's when it hits you, the hereditary trap. You realize that everyone expects you to be a civilized man. They want you to wear a suit and die of old age in a comfortable chair. But as you look at your scars, you feel nothing but a desire to go back. You realize you aren't just a soldier. You are a war addict. Your dream of a normal life? It's dead. You don't want peace. You want the noise. Since your dad realizes you're a lost cause, he uses his connections to get you a real commission. Now you're not Trooper Carton the liar. You're an officer in the 4th Dragoon Guards. This is where your real training begins. At age 20, your training isn't just about shooting. It's about the gentleman's war. You spend your days learning the high-maintenance art of the cavalry, grooming horses, polishing brass until it reflects your soul,
Identity
and
secured
learning the legal
through
protocols
training
of the
and
British
discipline.
Army.
Past the
Boring,
walls of
but it's the
conflict and
foundation.
recovery,
By
the
age
legend
24,
is born.
you've moved into advanced training. In the British Army of the early 1900s, this means polo, hunting, and sports. To you, this isn't just a hobby, it's psychological conditioning. You're training your brain to stay calm while moving at 30 miles per hour toward an obstacle. You're desensitizing yourself to fear. You're learning the anatomy of a charge, how to lead men who are just as terrified as you are. You become a machine of habit. You learn the king's regulations like a monk learns scripture. You learn that in the British Army, appearance is armor. If your boots are shiny, you're invincible. Then 1914 hits, the Great War. This is your first real experience with the modern machinery of death. You're sent to Somaliland to deal with the Mad Mullah. You're charging an enemy fort when a bullet clips your arm. You keep going. Another bullet tears through your left eye. It's hanging by a thread. You're covered in blood, the pain is like a white-hot poker in your brain, and what do? You keep shouting orders. This is the visceral reality of your training. You've conditioned yourself so deeply that pain is just an annoyance. When the doctors tell you they have to remove the eye, you don't ask for a week off. You get a glass eye, find it too uncomfortable, and throw it out a taxi window. You put on a black eye patch and head straight for the Western Front in France. You've graduated. You aren't just a soldier anymore. You're a legend in the making. Now comes the professional phase of being Adrian Carton de Wiart. Your office is a muddy ditch in Ypres or the Somme. Your daily responsibilities involve surviving things that would kill a normal human 5 times over. The daily grind. Your day starts at 4 a.m. with Stand 2. You spend your hours navigating the literal hellscape of the trenches, but you aren't a stay-in-the-back kind of general. You're always at the front. During the Battle of the Somme, you're seen pulling the pins out of grenades with your teeth because your left hand has been shattered by shrapnel.
Why won't they just work?
Speaking of your hand, the doctors refuse to amputate your fingers because they think they can save them. They're wrong. They're right. So, in a moment of peak Unkillable Soldier energy, you bite your own fingers off.
The risks
Eventually,
are high,
a surgeon
but it's
removes
our only
the whole
option.
hand.
I agree.
The social
Prepare the patient
consequences.
immediately.
You are now a walking nightmare. You have one eye, one hand, and more scars than a patchwork quilt. People in London look at you with a mix of awe and pure, unadulterated horror. You're a reminder of a war that everyone else wants to forget. You're isolated. You find it hard to connect with anyone who hasn't smelled mustard gas. Marriage? You do get married to an Austrian countess, but you're rarely home. How can you explain to a wife that you feel more alive in a crater than in a parlor? Religious rejection? Some people think you're cursed, others think you're a devil. How can one man survive a bullet to the skull, the stomach, the hip, and the leg and just keep walking? The perks. The economic benefits of your job are essentially medals. You get the Victoria Cross, the highest honor the British Empire can give. You get the prestige of being a general. But the real perk for you? It's the adrenaline. You famously wrote in your diary, "Frankly, I enjoyed the war." Think about that. While millions were suffering the greatest trauma in human history, you were having the time of your life. That is the psychological divide between you and the rest of the world. You're a professional dealer in violence, and business is booming. But nobody's truly made of iron. The mental deterioration starts to set in, even if you won't admit it. You don't have nightmares in the traditional sense. You have a physical decline that your brain can't ignore. Your body is a map of 20th century conflicts. Every time the weather changes, your hip aches from the Boer
Why
War.
won't they just
Your head
work?
throbs where the bullet grazed your brain in 1915. You're a general now, and the burden of continuing tradition is heavy. You have to train the next generation of officers,
We have to
but you
operate
see them
now.
as soft.
The risks are
You're
high,
a relic of
but
a
it's our
bloodier
only
time.
option.
I agree.
There's a
Prepare
quiet
the patient
tragedy in your
immediately.
survival. You've watched almost every friend you've ever had die in the mud. You're the unkillable soldier, but that means you're also the always left behind soldier. You are the one who has to write the letters home. You are the one who has to attend the funerals. When World War II breaks out, you're in your 60s. Most people are retiring to garden. You head to Norway, then Yugoslavia, then China. You survive a plane crash in the Mediterranean, swim to shore, and get captured by the Italians. Even as a prisoner of war, you try to escape 5 times. You're 61 years old, missing a hand and an eye, and you're digging tunnels. The toll isn't guilt. It's the realization that you are a man built for a world that is slowly disappearing. You are a warrior in an age of bureaucrats. Adrian Carton de Wiart eventually retired to a quiet life of salmon fishing in Ireland. After surviving 2 world wars, 3 plane crashes, being shot in the face,
hate
head,
these
stomach,
things.
ankle,
Why won't
leg,
they
hip,
just
and
work?
ear, and biting off his own fingers, he died peacefully in his bed at the age of 83. Harsh reality? In the game of survival, luck is a skill.
We
but
have
being
to
too tough
operate
to
now.
die is a
The
curse
risks
that
are
leaves
high,
you lonely.
but it's our only option.
Thanks for watching.
I agree.
If you think
Prepare
your
the
Monday
patient
morning is rough,
immediately.
just remember Adrian bit his own fingers off before breakfast. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into history's most chaotic lives. Next time, we're looking at the man who survived both atomic bombs in Japan. Imagine living through the end of the world twice. You won't want to miss the story of Tsutomu Yamaguchi. See
We
you in the
have
next
to
one.
operate now. The risks are high, but it's our only option.
I agree. Prepare the patient immediately.